Hello and welcome back to the ProDota 2 National Cup here on ProDota EN. This is going to be game number 2 of a 2-game series between Romania and USA. As far as game number 1 is concerned, USA with a little bit of a weak showing. All of their lanes didn't really work out. The only player that got farmed was Banana Slam Gemma on the Doom, and it didn't feel like the Doom was able to have that much of an impact. On the flip side of the coin, the mid-tiny absolutely balling out of control, getting kills left and right. Romania had almost complete map control, but it is worth noting game number 1 was played on Luxembourg servers, so USA had a slight disadvantage just by de facto and a slight advantage towards Romania by default. So we'll be moving on to game number 2. Hopefully it's a good one, but maybe we have to go back to the lobby as one of the broadcasters isn't loading. I'm GrandSV, and once again I'll be joined by Llama Down Under.
Yeah, we really jinxed it with going this early. The broadcasters again. I bet it's the same people. We should find them. We should not do anything hasty, like kick the yeah, but I know there are a lot of reborn issues as well, so I can't even be sure it's actually these casters' fault, right? It may just be them having a reborn bug. So
we've crashed multiple times on load, and I've crashed in lobbies too.
I think
it happens.
Crash on load is on purpose. It's like, how much do you actually want to cast this game, right?
Yes, I really do. Please
Yeah.
let me go in.
You don't want those people casting who are just going to sit there and, like, you know, just flame the players, not be terribly excited. It's just checking that we're really in this to win this from the spectator slots. And we've got some folks typing. We should load in the second time at worst. It could really just be the case of, I know for some people they have to load once, they have to preload. And because of all the crashing, they're no longer preloaded. So,
I mean, everybody in this lobby has at least loaded once today. I don't know. It happened.
You think, but then they crashed. So
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate. Like, I do not know a way to fix this at all. But yeah, hopefully we'll go again. Either way, I feel like not only will they have maybe a bit of a better go just because they won't have lag, hopefully the USA team will adapt. I'm sure that they have competent, they could play the anti-mage. Everybody knows how to play anti-mage at this level of play.
And Banana Slam Gem plays a damn good one. Like, it's a comfortable hero for them too. The biggest issue for me was that their supports weren't really in a situation where they could roam. Although there's potential to get kills with the Crystal Main and Tusk, and they tried. The heroes on the enemy side of the map were a little too elusive, and they weren't able to find good opportunities. They never had the map vision up that they really needed or required, and the first couple of ganks didn't go their way, so yeah. It really felt like they just didn't get the appropriate momentum in like the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and it did feel like they weren't maybe having the synergy. Could be the ping, could just be a newer team, but either way, I'm excited for this next game. I don't want to see an anti-mage just because of how prevalent he is. Oh, he was in the last patch, but I can understand how he might still come out.
He's super good right now. The nerfs the
nerfs were tiny.
And honestly, I'd say that Anti-Mage as a whole was buffed across the patch. You have the Heart buff, you have the Manta style buff, you have the Battle Fury cost reduction, and all of the items that Anti-Mage would build or are in his normal build path got changed in a way that's a lot better than blink distance being reduced at earlier levels. That 75 distance could make a difference, but in most games it's not going to. The difference between 925 and 1,000 in the first, 5 or so minutes of the game is very negligible, and the mini-stun on Mana Void's really just there for the mini-stun. It really is very irrelevant as far as the change is concerned.
We're 7 of 8. I believe we can do it this time.
We were 7 of 8 last time.
But then we went down to 6, and we were, I'm believing it's going to happen. Either way, eventually we'll get into the game, even if we have to purge the unbelievers, because that's something that occasionally happens. So, yeah, I don't know if we have any other signature heroes maybe on players. I was really surprised by how well the Tiny did mid. I could see them running that again, just because if your Tiny can win mid against a Zeus, he's probably going to have a great time no matter what.
And even if Tiny doesn't win his mid lane in that case, I've seen the mid Tiny a couple times coming out from Team Romania. It's something that they like running, and even when they don't win the lane outright, he still gets the Blink Dagger, and he's still involved with the kills. We saw time and time again, just tossing his support into the fray and getting a couple pickoffs here and there. It looks like we are going to have to
kick him. I am all for vengeance. No, this is unfortunately something that does happen occasionally, so we will probably... Do we know who it is in...
Absolutely not.
So...
No one hears me. Oh, you have to type to all.
Yeah, you have to type
That's right.
all. Yeah, I just want to make it known because I don't want to
Yeah,
do
I
when we
want
do
to
the
be kicked.
purge exactly. So who isn't here? Um, I think that tells us that unfortunately we now know who it was who wasn't loading. So, yeah, sorry again to viewers. This is just something that occasionally happens when you're trying to cast games. Having some trouble, and it looks like people are being removed. We should know who didn't load in that last game.
I have a sneaking suspicion it's one of the Romanian casters.
Yeah.
As the Humel guys were here in the first series as well, and we had no load problems, so. Well, sorry about this, guys. It's always awkward to have remakes. There's not a lot to talk about. There's really not. We could pull up, I suppose, the groups right now. Romania, as well as Greece, are tied in their score, and Sweden are sitting undefeated. They are undisputed. The first team inside the group is they've played all of their matches, which is actually incredible given the schedule and how much it's changed. But regardless,
Yeah, and we will see. I'm sorry, just reading chat and stuff very slowly. But yeah, hopefully, let's go. I believe everybody should load really, really quickly this time. It's good though. We get to show off all of our loading screens to the viewers. You know, they can see
absolutely.
what loading screens are out there in the wide, wide world, and it's gonna be good. We're 4 of 7. 5. We can do it, guys. I believe in us and the power of friendship. Oh, we're 6 of 7. I'm going to. It. One second.
It's one of the Romanians.
I know. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to. Okay, he's in. No, whoa. Okay, we're in. We're doing it. We're doing it. It's happening. Excellent. We're
Hey.
into a draft. We're actually going to call some Dota.
Nice. Although right now we don't have much of a draft to talk about, at least we're here. And we know that all of the casters are here as well. So into this series to reorient you, as we have had a little bit of delay. This is USA versus Team Romania, game number 2 of a 2-game series in the group stage. And it's a pretty important one at that. Right now everybody's lost to Sweden, and USA have not played any other matches except for that series. So we'll be moving on. They're going to respect ban the Tiny. I think that's completely reasonable. Tiny rocked game number 1.
Yeah, it was really dominating. Like I was continually like he kept getting kills and it was just like how are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this. There was some bad positioning on the part of a number of players that helped out, but he just got that good start that you sometimes see Tinies get. Got the blink and then was the murder stone. I don't know what we nickname the Tiny when he's that dominant, but he was destroying everybody in the game. In other news, though, a Tiny first ban, really unusual. It might mean that one of those kind of other still considered OP heroes will make it through. I imagine, though, stuff like Lena, Bounty Hunter, actually the clock being the ban out. So up to one of these teams left to ban the Bounty Hunter, or he will most certainly make it into those first round picks.
I'm not so sure. I'm still not sold on Bounty Hunter being a first pick right now. The Vision nerf is going to make it very undesirable to get him so early, and although he can still fit into drafts and is still a reasonable pick, I'm not sure if he's as reliable as he once was, and with the metagame being so shifted, there's not as many situations where it's for sure going to be good. The mid laners that would traditionally be partnered up with the bounty to get reliable track kills, like the Lena, the Lesh, things along those lines, their killing potential is slightly weaker, although only slightly, granted just a couple hundred points of damage here or there, but it does change things up a good amount. So I think
Yeah.
this game, these teams will probably feel comfortable enough to let that slide, or maybe not. Romania still have a ban remaining.
Yeah, and it's going to be the QoP that we were talking about. So yeah, let's see. Undying first pickup from USA. He's great for harassing out that safe lane farmer. He also got changed a little bit. It's not exactly a nerf or a buff. It just becomes something where he's a bit stronger late game because of how the tombstone works. But certainly not against Alina with that fiery soul. So
Yeah.
immediately picking her up.
The big change to Undying that's going to make him a little bit more attractive. Agnim's Scepter is pretty absurd. I've seen it in pubs a couple of times, and stealing 10 strength is a really ridiculous HP swing. If you can, in theory, catch all 5 of the enemy team, you have an HP swing of 2,000 in favor of the Undying, and even just on one target, stealing 200 or 200 HP off of them is really crazy. So we'll have to see if that's going to come into play, but regardless, it's a hero that fits USA's playstyle. They do like getting aggressive early, and I think this will allow them to control the momentum of the early game a lot better than what we saw in USA's Game 1 draft. So even though it's maybe not the traditional first pick like the Lina for Romania is, I still think it's good.
Yeah, and they're still waiting on that second pick. Stuff like Earthshaker that a lot of folks like to pair up with Alina, just ensuring kills on that mid lane is still in the pool. But it might be, oh, it is the Nature's Prophet, and both games he has been a first round pick. There's been some discussions of how Rat Dota is back in this patch. The Nature's Prophet, we didn't get to see much ratting last game because he was very because they were winning the game so dominatingly. He didn't really need to rat, but he of course can always split push really well, and that's what Romania is going to go with. And it's a nice backup plan of sorts, right? It's like maybe our actual strat of our main heroes being strong doesn't work. We can always just split push and do a lot of work.
Yeah, I felt that Nature's Prophet was probably in a pretty good spot last patch, even though he was very underpicked, and the buffs that he got are pretty ridiculous, if I'm honest. So I think that picking up Nature's Prophet this early is pretty good. As you said, a nice backup plan, and also a pretty good primary plan. Get aggressive around the map, move around with your team, and just have that fourth hero to put into skirmishes very quickly. Winter Wyvern will be the pickup for the USA's side. Winter Wyvern, as we saw in game number 1, is a very effective defensive support and still very good. Despite not having as strong of an ultimate, it's still very good against single targets.
Yeah, and definitely not only against the single top, it's just something where if anybody gets big on the opponent's side, you can turn their strength against them. So that's always really nice to have. The Phantom Lancer actually being banned out. He got changed a little bit. He has the Doppelgangers no longer instantaneous. It has a cost point, but I still think he's pretty strong. And a Spirit Breaker ban out. I think the only change on Spirit Breaker was making the bash no longer. Yeah. It's now proper well, no, it's now pseudo random, not proper random.
Yes, but still, it would have been a very potent dual lane with the Undying, and another one of those aggressive heroes that fits the mold for Team USA. So I think it's a respectable ban, even though pseudo-random is going to mean that we're going to see less of those ridiculous chains of bashes, but it also means we see more consistent bashes, so that does come into play. More than anything, this ban is to protect the Nature's Prophet. It's incredibly hard to play Furion against the Spirit Breakers. He's just running around the map, following you constantly, and there's not much you can do about it if the Spirit Breaker gets early momentum.
Yeah, definitely. And then a Juggernaut ban? What is, I mean... Fine.
Juggernaut's one of Banana Slam Jamma's heroes, and in general was a carry that especially Chinese teams in the Tier 2 scene liked a lot last patch, and to great success. It would have been a scary amount of push combined with the Nature's Prophet and the Healing Ward, and it's a carry that fights early and often, really hard to lock down, although they do have the Winter's Curse to pierce that Blade Fury. He's a hero that's very hard to dive, and I think that's exactly what USA are going to want to do with this Undying pick and put him in the pressure lane. So I think it's a reasonable ban, although probably a couple other carries that might be a little bit higher on the priority list. I know I said that was one of Banana Slam Jamma's heroes. That's actually USA banning that. Excuse me.
No, we understood though. It's still something where it's like it is a good hero to ban out, and I was just a little bit surprised, but now that you mentioned all the split push, or not the split push, just the push potential, you never want to be, especially after that last game, right? You don't want to be playing against one of those snowball lineups when you don't have a good way to stop it. Between Undying and Wyvern, you don't have a lot, and you really have to change your lineup if you realize you're suddenly going against one of those snowball push, death ball push, I believe, is what we used to call it. And speaking of death ball, I don't believe Death Prophet got buffed enough to make her playable again, but she did receive a small buff, so if that's what Romania is going for, maybe we'll see something like that. But I feel like a Dragon Knight much more likely than a Death Prophet if they're gonna try to Death Ball with the push.
I feel the DK a little bit more, but if they really do want to fully commit, maybe Death Prophet comes out a little bit later inside the draft. For now, we're probably just going to see another support for Romania, or just a support in general. It's going to be a Witch Doctor, offers a little bit of extra sustain to the push. In general, a good hero, but now USA going to pull out the Night Stalker. Undying Night Stalker is a nightmare to be playing up against. Two very tanky strength heroes. They're just going to run at you, and there's hardly anything you can do. You can throw out a Light Strike Array maybe and throw out a Cask, but that's hardly going to save your life. If they start getting a couple of kills, they ball and ball very hard.
Yeah, definitely, and it's totally a matchup where we talked already a little bit at last game about how Night Stalker's got a little bit of a buff on that regen, makes him sustain better. This game is all going to hinge on how well they use that first night. We've seen teams play that first night in a way that they get a lot of worth out of it, but also on a support or on a not quite core, because he'll be in a dual lane where he won't have the levels. He might only be level 4 or even 3 for that first night, so going to be interesting to see what he can pull out. But Luna, Ember Spirit not touched by the patch. Luna was actually buffed, and I feel like
it's another one of those uncalled for buffs. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's gonna have a great game right now. She got her strength gain buffed, which is the one thing she was lacking, right? She's a very squishy hero. She's still pretty squishy, but a little bit less so, and probably still gonna be rushing that first BKB or whatever, but not going to be nearly as squishy as you're used to, where probably a Night Stalker could take her down solo. And interestingly, both her and Night Stalker have increased night vision, so we'll see if that comes into play at all.
And also, when you pop Eclipse, it does turn into nighttime. So although that's hardly ever relevant, inside this game it might be. Maybe Night Stalker's able to get a longer silence off because of it or something along those lines. But still, I like where Romania are putting their draft. They have a pretty clear picture in mind of what they want to be doing with this lineup. They want to get those early items up and then just start pushing down these towers. But I think the USA have heroes that are very good at disrupting that and very good at fighting early and making sure that they're not able to get those key components online. And even when they do start balling up and pushing, although USA don't have good heroes at taking down towers, they have very good 5-man heroes with the Wyvern and Undying.
I like the Doxia ban out. It's nice. It just means that they won't get to turn their power against them at the same time. Again, Viper. But I think we talked about this last time. It would be hard to play that Ember Spirit into a Viper, but yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible.
And this does look to be Death Ball push. So they just need a mid hero. I'm assuming this Lena is support again. It could be that she's mid. I'm not sure whether teams have decided that with that that slight 100 damage taken away from that Aghanim Scepter upgrade, that maybe she's not worth being a mid anymore. So
she's still absolutely worth being a mid. I don't know. There's always that flexibility, but I am getting kind of the same read. Just throw the Lena as a support. That amount of lockdown's really nice, although maybe it's not fast enough incoming for the Ember Spirit. Probably a bigger nerf this game is the fact that Yule's takes a lot longer to come out. And Dragon Knight's somewhat going to help that. We're seeing a lot of blinks on DKs right now, and it's going to be that mid hero to start grouping up. And as you said, like Death Ball push. Right now, they'll hit a timing window when alright, okay, so now we have a Slark for BSJ. That's very interesting. I'm not sure if Slark is the pick here. They have a lot of heroes on the enemy side that are going to be grouping up inside these 5-man units, and Slark doesn't really thrive in that scenario. He wants to find those single pickups. He's great at hunting the Nature's Prophet, but I'm not sure how much the Nature's Prophet is going to be alone. That said, it's an incredibly comfortable hero for Banana Slam Jamma, so
he's also good against Luna. The same reason he's good against the Gyro, just you can use that Shadow Dance to avoid a lot of the damage from the ultimate or the other magic damage. Of course, it is a short, Shadow Dance isn't forever, and Luna does have those bouncing glaives. We've seen it in other games where Luna illusions get big enough that they can take down enemy heroes. At the same time, we have to note it again, USA is playing with the ping advantage this game. Ember Spirit, a hero that, when you have the ping advantage, always a lot easier, and it's going to be interesting. I don't know whether the ping will be bad enough that we'll see missed Light Strike Arrays, but it's always something to pay attention to. So
yeah, and there's the prescribed crash. So we'll be getting to that into a second. As far as ping is concerned, I think it's a little bit more relevant this game than others. Ember Spirit and Slark very elusive, and the disables coming out, especially from the Witch Doctor and the Lena, aren't incredibly fast and aren't incredibly reliable either, so it could very easily be disjointed.
I think it's actually a smart idea to pick a Death Ball lineup when you are playing on the higher ping, right? You don't need as many skill shots. You kind of just need to take your objectives, and your team fights consist of a lot of auto attacking, right? Yeah, there are some stuns and so on, but it's a little bit easier to play on higher ping, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's reconnect into here in just a second. We'll be able to get this game underway. Hopefully we don't miss anything. Well...
No, it doesn't look like it. We don't have any early smokes or anything. Teams just roaming around trying to stop the early ward coming out from Nature's Prophet, but not actually going to be there at the right timing. Nature's Prophet really late to place that ward. Wyvern might... Nope, Wyvern's going down to the rune, so... We've got nothing much to write home about. They might clash at the rune, undying a hero who might try to get some decay stacks out on them, since they'll all be grouped up down there, but probably gonna be nothing at all.
Yeah, Nature's Prophet's ward right now is going to give vision of when the supports are pulling to either the large camp or the small camp, but it doesn't actually block off either of them. The box for the large camp is there, and the box for the small camp is right about there, so he's freed in the clear in that respect, and it doesn't look like there is going to be too much support intervention in the top lane, mostly just the Wyvern heroes, and Dying Night Sucker are going to try to apply as much pressure as possible. Wyvern, ooh, deep behind enemy lines, potential courier snipe coming out here. The Dragonite, his item build is very, very fast bottle, and if Winter Wyvern sticks around, might be able to get it. Although, as far as damage is concerned, Winter Wyvern is not the greatest. It's going to take at least 2 shots for this courier.
Yeah, it's especially hard as a Wyvern because you don't get the... she can probably actually get it with the Octic Bone, but melee heroes get a bonus damage against couriers, and of course you're a Wyvern. But she's looking, and the courier is now coming. Let's see whether Frozen's going to get this. Has Octic Bone. That should be more than enough. And this courier is carrying the bottle. If Wyvern can kill this on the way, it's going to be huge. There she goes. There's the Octic Bone. She needs just 2 hits, and that's a dead courier. And that's pretty much a 1 mid lane. So DK can't handle up... well, he's got some regen with the Dragon's Blood, but not going to be able to handle the lane nearly as easily. And it was funny because, yeah, it's just going to win them that mid lane.
It's not something you see often. Right? Winter Wyvern is not a hero that's going to go for that courier snipe play, and most of your games you'd expect something from a bounty or a hero like that to be sitting between that tier 1 and tier 2 tower. It might have been suspicious that Wyvern wasn't showing in any of the lanes, and if they were paying perfect attention, maybe they'd play a little bit safer when it comes to the courier, but still that is going to help out. As you said, the mid lane, Dragonite versus Ember Spirit is usually a pretty even matchup, and it'll probably continue to be so. If anybody gets an edge, usually it's the DK, but now Slayer is going to find himself his bottle faster than the DK, which is something you don't see when you start with the poor man's shield. And now Winter Wyvern's going to poke again, just ensuring mid lane supremacy. That's going to favor the USA side by a lot.
Yeah, something I find even more interesting almost is that they actually did a solo Undying in this bottom lane. I was expecting him to have some sort of support. Of course, the Wyvern is off doing mid-help things, but he's going to have a really rough time. I imagine this will be our first blood on the bottom lane, and actually, Lina picks up a haste. She's going to try to sneak up on middle, though. I think a little bit easier target is in that bottom lane, maybe afraid of the tombstone being dropped or something, so...
Yep. Slayer right now playing very defensively on the top side of his lane, so he shouldn't get caught out by this Lina, but then again, Lina's going for the courier snipe. Can she find it? The Venomancer is holding the bottle, and it's gonna die. Both teams will have themselves a bottle on the sideline, so now things flip back in Keanu's favor.
This is very, very silly. I can't believe both teams have had the couriers. But there's a searing chance coming up mid. Gonna be the Dragon Tail as well, though, and so it's Slayer not looking like going to be able to get anything done there. But going to put a nice amount of damage out onto DK, and only has that natural regen to deal with. So does Ember Spirit, but has a salve.
Lina does have a tango. It looks like they're going to give Lina the mid lane for a while, however, as Illusionist hasn't been finding that much experience around the map and would really like to have access to level 2, and both of her nukes available. As far as all of the lanes are concerned as a whole, outside of those courier snipes, it's looking pretty even. Luna very close to CS with the Slark, Dragonite close with the Ember Spirit, although Ember is sitting on a slight edge since the bottle was sniped faster for the Dire team. And both of these offlaners are getting a similar amount. Slightly more CS and slightly more experience for the Nature's Prophet, but that advantage is minimal at best.
Yeah, and Dragonite actually went home and let Lina take the lane, so now he's going to have a great time because he has his bottle up. Slayer still doesn't have his, should be up in a little bit, but he still has to wait a full minute, and he's not going to be getting any runes with Lina running around like that. At the same time in bottom lane, doing a lot of one more auto... Yeah, that's the... Lost Moonbeam needed to kill off Undying, so he goes down in that bot lane, and that's what I was talking about. I don't think he's actually strong enough to solo lane against such of a strong lane. In the meantime, top rune, there is business going down. There's a bounty rune. They're trying to save it for that Slayer, but okay, he is going to get it, and their courier taking damage. No, okay, that was a creep. Never mind. I thought the courier was taking damage again from the creep wave, and I was like, really? You just had it die? You can't... You can't let that happen, guys.
A bit of a sad happening for the Winter Wyvern. Unfortunately, uses the clarity on himself instead of trading. He's getting wrapped around upon by an Invis Lina. This should be a kill. And let's see if they're going to open up. He does have 2 decay stacks, does have a tombstone, so maybe a little bit hard to dive in. Now Undying himself has some backup coming around the corner. This could be a big fight. They'll open up with Lucid Beam, a little bit of chip damage. They're going to get the wrap onto Razeban. Razeban going to be dropped very low. Lokarn will take the Light Strike array, but another decay comes out. The tombstone will die. Doesn't even matter. Nightstalker wants to go under the tower, but now changes targets onto Illusionist, chasing her into the side chop. Another Void and another punch, and that's going to be 2 kills in the favor of the Dire team. Romania thought they had the jump with the Invis Lina, but right now is Nightstalker's big time. The first nighttime with 2 points up in that Void.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because you can already see the tombstone being, like, we can see the tombstone change, because I don't want to call it a nerf. It allows him to go further late game, arguably, but we can see the change in the tombstone right there. Just it went down much more easily than it would have normally. But at the same time, he still got the job done with those early rotations. And in mid, we have TPs coming in, but we also have the same gank train coming, and it's nighttime, so they can't see each other. This is what we're talking about. Nightstalker only level 3 in that first night. They're trying to go on Slayer, but where is his backup? They're finally running in. Slayer taking a lot of damage. The Nature's Prophet even came in. He remnants forwards, gets the kill on Illusionist, and now might be able to run away. He actually comes back for the Searing Chain. Gonna try to kill off Kenyu, but not gonna be able to get it. Oh, actually, the Cold Embrace saving his life from the tower and the auto attacks, but another Dragon's Breath in 8 seconds. Nature's Prophet in the meantime does pick off Nightstalker. Now these two need to run for their life. There's also dot damage that's Self helping out. Winter Wyvern trying to make sure she takes the auto attacks and not Slayer, but there is a dragon, there's a flame breathe fire that doesn't actually go for it, decides instead to stun up. Oh, Undying's now probably going to go down. Of course, he gets a regen rune on the DK. Can Undying die to the Roshan? He actually uses the decay stacks, maybe trying to walk his way out, but he is most certainly dead. His team's coming back in, though. Can they follow up on this tombstone? We see the Searing Chains, and they can't find his tombstone. There is the TP out, though. Nothing they're going to get there. They will at least get Witch Doctor. So a very messy fight, but ending up, I think, a slightly better result for USA.
Yeah, especially considering...
one extra kill.
Yeah, especially considering all that action was away from the Slug. Banana Slam Gemma has been free farming up in the top lane, has 43 CS, 6.5 minutes into the game, is having a pretty darn good time. A very close exchange, though, when we take a look at how the numbers end up shaking down. 2 supports die for Romania's side, a support and offlaner for the side of USA. A slight gold advantage, however, for USA is going to mean that things tip towards their favor. The Ember Spirit, playing on the edge of things, did so successfully and was able to get a lot of damage through. That maxed out Flame Guard was a huge amount if we're able to stay in the fray, and he was.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely impressive, but at the same time, this mid lane just cracking me up every time. Ember Spirit, of course, a little bit ahead, as we mentioned, but looks like he's going the Aquila. I wonder if he'll also go drums. That'll make... Oh, goodness, they've got an Arctic Bone coming out. Lina's here as well, though. Nightstalker coming in, has silenced up Dragon Knight. No chance to use that Dragon form. It's going to wear off, though. Searing Chains doesn't latch on the DK. Hits a creep instead. Nature's Prophet here as well. The Breathe Fire being the last thing to come up, but they pick up Dragon Knight and the Lina, and maybe they'll go for more. Really low on that Wyvern. They finally take down the Tombstone, but I think Witch Doctor's going to play with her life. And now Witch Doctor down. Now Slayer's gonna fall, though. Here comes the Eclipse, picking off one. Gonna wait on picking off the Undying. Undying actually gets away, being a relative turn. If there is another Moonbeam coming out, and there is, Lucent Beam's gonna slow him down, but there's no more mana. Maybe Undying can just walk this off. He's gonna need about 5 attacks, and there is the TP in by Nature's Prophet. No way he's making it out now. There is the trees up, and he's just gonna finally go down. Another really messy fight, and I'm really not sure who came out on top.
I'm gonna say that's a Romania 1 fight, and the numbers would agree with me. Still, the Slug maintains his position farming up towards the top lane, but the big difference is where that gold is distributed inside that last engagement. The winners for the Romania side, Luna and Nature's Prophet, coming away like bandits. Luna in particular getting 664 gold inside that last fight will mean that I think Romania are more happy with their situation inside that skirmish. Still, the Slark, Banana Slam Gemma, has himself almost enough gold for the Hand of Midas. We see this quite often from where he goes and treads into the Hand of Midas, and that should be his item build this game.
Yeah, it's something where Dark Pact, it helps you farm up stacks a little bit, but at the same time, it's like not... It's not one of the best AoE spells, so having that Midas to accelerate your farm, always good, and of course getting you more levels. Slark is one of those heroes who, having more levels, more damage output, you win. So, and if he can have more farm, he can pick off Lina, he can pick off Witch Doctor here, maybe even the Luna if he gets lucky, so certainly powerful. But in the meantime, it's daytime, so Nightstalker just gonna chill. And I like that. Ember Spirit also farming up a Storm, and actually, Banana Slam Jammer already going in to farm up creeps. I think just trying to give Night Stalker a bit more farm.
Yeah, and he probably needs that space. This Night Stalker has been very nomadic, and although he's been involved in quite a lot of kills for his team, 2-2-2, he's never really been sitting in one place. He got a little bit of pull experience to start off the game, but since then hasn't found that much, so I like that BSJ is giving him that extra bit of room. Also worth noting that Midas attack speed, better on Slark than on most heroes. The Essence Shift stacks, if you can keep them flowing, is wonderful. But yeah, things have slowed down. 6-7 is our kill score, and I kind of expect this to be the general flow of the game. Whenever cooldowns are down, both of these teams are going to be going at each other's throats. But until then, just wait for the cooldowns availability.
And they're pushing bottom again, just as you said, waited for that dragon form cooldown. I'm a little bit surprised that they went for bottom. It's more usual that we see people push up, like, it's more usual that we see the DK try to finish up mid, but I think assuming that he has a lot more support down bottom, so going for that. The thing is, the Nature's Prophet is kind of doggedly sitting in middle. He's again going to go for that Orchid build, and yeah, he's, I guess, stopping the push or something, but I think it's more valuable to get a tower down. Of course, it is either the offlane tower. It's not a key tower for the Dire.
Fair enough. Right now, the Nature's Prophet can't really go to any other spot, and I think the heroes that are down in the bottom lane are more than enough to take out this tower, so he's not really needed there either. Top lane, mid lane aren't great situations for him to be in, and I think trying to slow down the Ember Spirit is probably the better play here. Dragon form, even if there wasn't any backup here, could probably take down this tower, but he has the Luna and Witch Doctor in reserve. Fighting into this is going to be hard.
Yeah, and I think Undying wants nothing to do with it. In the meantime, in mid, doesn't manage to hit the Light Strike array, so they're gonna throw out the fort. No support for Undying. It's kind of a waste. I feel like Undying still very good early and not so good later, and Dragon Knight gets the last hit on that tower with the dot damage, so there's one, and as we said, it's just gonna be cooldown gaming. Dragon Knight's gonna wait now for a while until that Dragon form comes back up, maybe even wait till level 11, just so that he has a little bit better timing on it. But yeah, then he'll push mid or top, and we'll see the end of that. In the meantime, nighttime, only a minute away. There's already an urn up on Night Stalker. Wyvern has the arcanes, so see what they can do. And Luna has drums and Aquila, so she is fully on board with this push lineup.
Yeah. And it seems that everybody's going towards that style of items. Even though Slark starts things off with going for Midas, he's going to back off for a Bracer, and maybe even for the full drums. I don't think Ember Spirit's going to be going drums for himself. When you get both drums and heal on Ember Spirit, it feels like it delays your impact a little too much, and you only go that build if you really need to. And I think the rest of your heroes can tide him over to the spot where he's going to be able to be relevant. It's probably going to be Boots of Travel for Slayer to make sure that he's able to keep up with the split push coming out from the Nature's Prophet. And in general, just a good item to have. Drop a Remnant lane, Boots of Travel to another one, clear to creep wave, and it accelerates your farm speed pretty dramatically.
In the meantime, there is another Dragon form in 9 seconds. They don't have level 6 yet on the Night Stalker. He's almost there. I wonder if he'll pop the nighttime early just to get a good teamfight off in this push, but I'm not sure. I hear, yep, there is the early nighttime pop. I also hear Laguna Blade. What is going on? Oh, Lena's being picked off right here. She tries to kill a Wyvern, but isn't able to because of that cold embrace. And yeah, even has to use the Laguna Blade there to no avail. And good team fight for them. Popping the Knight a little bit early, but of course it will just extend this. And now Undying, they could actually return the push. Dragon Knight hasn't used Dragon form yet though, but this is definitely a hamper in their plans. Slayer gonna catch Dragon Knight, gonna get the Searing Chains off. Here comes the slows. Immediate TP out though, and they don't have another stun. But at the same time, this does mean that they know the DK is back in base. They could probably start a push out in that mid lane. And Slok, Banana Slam Jammer, has decided to come over. He's getting close to one part of that Shadow Blade, so I'd just be going
Should they decide to go for that item? Right now, they're not pushing fast enough to where they can really apply that much pressure to the enemy side, and they're not going to be able to get any substantial tower damage. Ember Spirit is going to pick up those bots, but mid lane, Dragon Tail going to connect onto Frozen. The Winter Wyvern is going to be burned down by the Lina. Chains will connect onto Illusionist as well as on Keanu. But nothing's really going to happen after the fact. Right now, both teams are just playing ward wars. The reason why Illusionist gets picked off is he was looking for that Vision Ward. It's going to be instantly taken away, though. There's no other reason that Lina would be there. Tier 1 tower, excuse me, is going to take a lot of damage and will be glyphed up by the enemy team. But to no avail, Dragon Knight will get the tower destruction there. And Romania have used this Dragon Knight ultimate pretty effectively. Top is now the tower, with a target on it. Although the dragon form isn't going to be lasting long enough for them to get to that tower, they can still just keep on pushing, even without that ultimate form up. Luna is more than well equipped.
Yeah, and they're going to try to see what little they can do on the top tower before the dragon forms up. But as you mentioned, they don't need it. They've got lots of trees. They need to decide to teamfight here. Nighttime still up for another 2 minutes. They try to use the Splinter Blast to do some wave clear. But other than that, they actually have Slock and Undying in the backline. Slock decides to go in. He does have that Shadow Dance, and he uses it immediately. Though Eclipse coming out, damaging a lot of people. But of course, Slock dodging a lot of that. Actually, none of it killing anyone. Laguna Blade comes out on Banana Slam Jammer, and he's going to take a lot of damage. But then he is Cold Embrace. And there's Tombstone working overtime. Nobody seems to have stopped it. A lot of TPs coming out, so they only get the Luna and the Lena, but that's good enough. Actually, they got the Witch Doctor earlier on in the team fight. But yeah, the full duration, full duration Tombstone, essentially, you know. Team fight ends before full duration Tombstone, but they got massive worth out of that. And now they will get a tower push on their own, and that's fantastic. You know, this is what you need to be doing against this lineup. You have to take their towers as well, show them that you're still in the game, because otherwise they get a huge net worth lead and just snowball on you.
And right now that lead is in the Dyer's side, quite substantially so.
Yeah.
USA, although the net worth lead is not that big, probably will settle down at about 1,500, and that's about where it is. The experience advantage is magnificent in their favor, more than 5,000 in their side. It really does show when you have these offlaners, these supports that have high levels up in all of their spells. Witch Doctor isn't even level 6, but we saw the potency of the Winter's Curse, having Cold Embrace available to save that Slark, having a maxed out Tombstone, as you said, it was almost maxed out duration. And another thing that, although is usually not super relevant, is the fact that they use those wards and were dewarded by the enemy's side. When you're going for a push up into this top lane, it's really crucial to be able to see these avenues or see TPs to the tower back here, something along those lines, so you don't get wrapped around upon like that. But Slark and Undying were able to find a perfect angle, and it was a very close escape by Banana Slam Jamma, but I'm going to say that was probably calculated.
Yeah, I mean, it very much helped that the Wyvern saved his life there. If not for the Wyvern, he would have been dead. The other important thing to note is not only the Midas leading to this experience lead, and actually they might be in trouble. Slock should... No, okay. But Slock, he might get Blancon. He does get Blancon. There is the Dragon tail coming out. He's now silenced up because the Orchid's finished. He needs some help from his teammates, but the Cold Embrace and the Death Ward not going to hit him. He finally goes down to that Light Strike array. But here's the Tombstone. Ember Spirit getting stunned for a second. He doesn't have Mana for Searing Chains. He pops his wand to get it, and that's going to be 2 easy kills. Now they can get more, maybe. The Tombstone is suddenly down, but that doesn't matter. Lena is dead. And again, a 3-for-1. You will gladly trade Banana Slam Jam after that. The other reason the experience I was going to talk about is when you group up and push, you're not taking advantage of every lane. Yeah, now Luna's getting some farm on bottom, but the fact that Banana Sam Jamma was level 11 and she was level 9, his damage output was huge. And another one team fight, death push doesn't work when the opponents are bigger than you. Like, you're going to have to rely on this Nature's Prophet split push, which is not the place you want to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. Their team is pretty good at dealing with that split push. You have the Boots of Travel on the Ember Spirit to make sure that he's just about as map mobile as the Nature's Prophet, maybe even a little bit more so. Slayer can always be there to counter push inside these lanes, and I'll get even faster once he has the Battle Fury. And Slark is really good at picking him off, although maybe a little bit less so since he has decided to go for a more stats-heavy build instead of the Blink or the Shadow Blade. But still, it's not a comfortable situation to be in, and Synergy hasn't itemized for it either. He's gone for this Orchid. He wants to be fighting, he wants to be grouping up with his team, but yeah, pushing out lanes is not his forte. Blink potential in mid coming out, Dragon Tail to follow up onto Slayer. Tombstone will be dropped and Remnant away. Means they won't be able to get that Ember kill, but now looking for Lokarn, they're going to throw a boulder into him with the Shard Golem over on the sidelines. Lucent Beam onto Lokarn, but he has the Mechanism and Wand Charges. They'll pop the Eclipse. They really want this Undying dead. Can they get him? It looks like they will, and they'll succeed, but now Slark comes in, destroys the Nature's Prophet, buying back. They'll try to kill off Massacre. The chains are going to cancel that TP. It's close. She'll get away to safety, but Keanu not so lucky. Light Strike Array is going to connect on the 3. Who needs Ravage when you have Light Strike? They'll be able to catch out one of them with the Dragon Slave. Now silence on the BSJ. Breathe Fire to secure that kill. Now Goodnight is going to be saying goodnight to the living world as he's brought down. Double kill for Keanu. And that Nature's Prophet buyback completely worth it. He is able to turn that around massively in favor of his team.
Yeah, finally a good team fight coming out of Romania, and that's probably going to change the net worth back into their favor. On the other hand, it's also devastating because, yeah, they used a buyback, but it's something where they can even get damage on a tier 3 with this type of push. Not to mention top lane was also being pushed and will probably fall because there's a catapult on that tower. So they're going to get some damage on a tier 3 while everybody's still respawning in your base. And I don't know what you have to do here. Luna does actually go up top to get the last hit. Dragon Form will be ending in a bit, but it's still got a ways to go, so... gonna get might even get this whole tower down, but decides to back out wisely. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
they'll
bit of
still
dot.
get it below half. It's absolutely massive to get that chip damage onto the tower when you have a team that pushes so very quickly. Had they had the Luna there, maybe it is a tier 3 tower falling, in fact. And both of these teams are really even when it comes to their fighting potential now. Smoke in mid lane, not spotted out. That was a sentry ward placed down by the Radiant side, not Ob, so they'll look to get aggressive on the enemy side of the map. Nature's Prophet has been spotted as he's been farming inside his woods by that ward. I believe he's walked past that avenue, and now he definitely has. He's going to be pinged up by the Night Stalker. They know where he is. Lena's right around the corner. This might just be 2 easy kills for their team. Winter's Curse on this synergy, and Illusionist will also be brought down.
And nice 2 easy kills, as you mentioned. The other thing that I'm a little bit questioning, though, is this Ember Spirit. He's got a lot of farm, so like it's still not a non-issue though. He went the bots, and I feel like this is not the game to go the bots.
No. I think it's the game to go the bots.
Oh, why?
Nature's Prophet, he needs to be this map mobile to deal with the split push pressure that's coming out now. And in general, he's not needed to be in the middle of the fights to where the stats from treads or the damage from phase is that attractive.
I think he should have kept them brown and then started picking up another item, because I understand like he needs to split push and so on, but he needs the damage for these team fights. You can see all of his damage is just his spells right now.
I think
feels like
working for them though right now.
What is Luna doing? She gets pounced. She does it. She does have Eclipse, of course. Not going to use it here. She knows she's going down, and she was just walking up into their jungle with no backup.
If we take a look at the Radiant's vision, there is none. You only make that play if you know for sure that the enemy team isn't around the corner there. So that was just a lapse in judgment coming out from Luna.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think Slayer's build is starting to pay off now. I think the damage inside the fights has been enough and sufficient with just the spells up until this point. But once he gets the Battle Fury, he's going to be doing a pretty absurd amount.
And as we mentioned, it kind of became a moot point because he got it and then he won a team fight immediately that replaced the cost. So it was like, I don't maybe super agree with this, but you're rich again, so never mind. And he is, as you said, it really will help against the Nature's Prophet. Being able to just TP wherever he was, slide a fist down, all of those tree babies, gonna help you out a lot. So, and Nature's Prophet only has the Orchid. Do you think he's just gonna go the exact same split push build as last game with the Blink?
I'm not sure if he's going to go the Blink for split pushing purposes, but a Blink Orchid initiation is really important when you're dealing with the likes of Ember Spirit, the likes of Slark, and trying to kill them off. They rely right now a little too much on the Dragon Knight to pull that through, so I wouldn't mind the Blink at all. And it definitely has its split pushing opportunities, but I think it's also for a little bit more than that. Glimmer down towards bottom. They're going to be hunting with the Slark, but won't find anybody.
Yeah, and he has decided to go the Sandan Yasha. No Shadowblade up on him. Sandan Yasha, I think it's good to tank up, especially you've been seeing these team fights where him staying alive will be really powerful. Maybe could have invested in a BKB even, but probably... Oh, Dragon Knight actually blinking forwards, and there was going to be a TP Lena there as well, but not connecting. And yeah, the cancelled bots in by Ember Spirit. Everybody just deciding we want nothing to do with this business.
Yeah, for sure. Slark was already on guard. He knew there was a ward, or in some way, shape, or form, vision back here, so he either knew an Invis hero or a ward is down on the ground there. So I'm pretty sure he was privy to the fact that something could have happened, but if they just waited a little while longer, and maybe right after that Dark Pact, they could have been able to pull that one through. Regardless, he's going to dodge a bullet, and Slark will just go back to farming.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if he just decides to go Scotty next. I feel like another defensive item. BKB does block a lot of the damage. It would mean that he couldn't possibly be locked down, but of course there could still be the odd, like, you got trapped in by trees because you've already used Pounce, and that is probably why he's still carrying this Quelling Blade at 22 minutes in. But it'll be interesting to see exactly. And in the meantime, it is nighttime. Night Stalker just not doing too much right now. I think everybody... Oh, goodness, that is a huge stack that Luna is taking. So, she's going to finish up her BKB with that. Actually, I think she'll need a little bit more. No, she'll use the stack and get the BKB. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what they decide to do. Looking like they're missing a lot of the timing on this nighttime, but should be able to do something good with the next. Of course, if their towers still are standing at that time, one win team fight from Romania, right? All they need. And they have a DD on Dragon Knight. So, I think they're going to wait for all of them to have BKBs up.
Yeah, I think so as well. Right now, match community is very important inside these fights, but it's going to be harder inside these engagements, even with the BKB. Now that Battle Fury is up, they still have Winter's Curse to deal with it, and since it is nighttime, Night Stalker's running around with that massive vision. Since he has recently picked up that Aghanim Scepter, they've given the Night Stalker a lot of space, and I do quite like it. Although usually at this point, Night Stalkers are going to scale off. Vision is tantamount in Dota right now.
Yeah, it's something where I imagine at some point Frozen will buy him a gem, and by at some point I mean as soon as he has 900 gold. It just can't be underestimated, this extra vision you get. You can de-ward from like around the trees, and you're a naturally tanky hero in that Night Stalker, so you will often be able to actually get away while holding the gem. So, and I believe, yeah, that's Battle Fury finished on Ember Spirit, so he is hitting quite hard, and with all these tree units, he's going to be having a blast. In the meantime, there is a smoke rotation. Not sure if they're trying to sneak Roche or looking for a kill. I don't know if they even have enough. They probably have enough damage for Roshan. They don't have a medallion on anyone. Witch Doctor rushing Ag, so it would be hard. They're placing up a ward. No, they're looking for a kill.
This is probably just a ward smoke. Like, in all honesty, right now, they just don't have any vision to go for objective plays. If they try this Roshan, there's an Axe Night Sucker around the corner. They'll drop BSJ very low. With the Eclipse, they'll be able to kill him off. They didn't expect that rotation buyback from the Slark. They want to get back into it. BKB popped by the Dragon Knight. Synergy is going to be silenced up under a Sentry Ward. As he walks in with the Shadow Blade, is going to be dropped low. He drops his Orchid before he dies. Winter's Curse catches all 5 of the enemy heroes. Keanu is going to be at about half HP. They turn around. The leash is going to connect from BSJ. The Slark is on buyback right now and needs to be very careful not to go down. They won't commit any further. Night Stalker is going to look for Raise Van Stun. It's going to buy Witch Doctor's space, and with that Voodoo Restoration ticking, the Urn is not going to be lethal. A disastrous fight for USA. I thought that would be their engagement, but the Night Stalker was too far back, wasn't able to offer that Axe Vision inside the pit, so BSJ gets completely caught out.
Yeah, and what happened there as well is Banana Slam Jammer went up a little bit too forwards. He broke the smoke and DK immediately blunk in. I don't think DK actually had vision because the ward was placed afterwards in the middle of the engagement after the tombstone was dropped. They're actually Undying coming over, but of course they see him. They have mass vision around this pit for the Radiant. This should be an easy Roshan. Banana Slam Jammer is in the middle of them. I don't know if he can do this. He's gonna try. They're all getting quite low, maybe with some help of the Undying, and they're TPing out. Maybe he can pick off DK in the back lines. Yeah, the tombstone is busying up some of them. He doesn't know who to go for, it looks like. BKBs were used, at least on, but they're coming off cooldown. They're off cooldown, so he might not be able to do anything. He's trying to isolate one, but I don't know if Luna's the one you wanted to go for, and someone can just blink over and help. Actually, she pops her BKB, that's worth it.
Yeah, he doesn't really spend much of anything, not even his ultimate cooldown to go for that play. He'll drop a little bit of her HP and just force her out. Now it's time for USA to get back on their feet. It looks like they want to attempt a Roshan. Nature's Prophet all the while is pushing top.
They also don't have a medallion. It's... I mean, yeah, Slog does quite a bit of damage, but it's always infinitely faster with a medallion, so a bit surprised neither team has one. I don't think the nerf on it, that it doesn't go through magic immunity anymore, is going to...
It also has half effectiveness on Roshan, so it is significantly slower,
that's a good
even
point,
with the medallion.
So, but better than nothing anyway. We have a TP up top coming out. Ember Spirit, though, they killed the tower, so that's a cancelled TP. And they're going to just work on their push. They're like, you can have the Aegis. Good luck defending. And yeah, DK is smoked up, is going to just pop that Dragon Form and go in. Finally, the Aegis is picked up by Sloth. We'll see if he can do anything against this push, but this tower is going to take a lot of damage in the meantime. Nighttime popped. Wyvern trying to get in position using that Glimmer Cape, actually just doing it after the TP so she doesn't die. If she can get off a big Winter's Curse again, it might be something, but they have to be careful with that. Lena's Light Strike arrays have been on point. The blink away, but again, this tower is at half health, right? Banana Slam Jammer trying to come in from the back lines. He's just going ham. He's going to immediately try to purge off that Yules, and he does get it. Luna taking a lot of damage, but she's also using that Eclipse, and it's going to hit nobody. And now, at the same time, Undying, he's popped with that Laguna Blade, but his Tombstone's still up. Lena and Luna both gonna... Oh, Witch Doctor and Luna both gonna fall. Where is that Lena? She's already dead. And Remnant back, so 3 for 1. Totally worth it, and your tower defended, but at the same time, Nature's Prophet just went straight back down bottom to slay that tower. So, should be able to defend that with that Battle Fury, but actually, tower's gonna take quite a bit of damage. So.
Yeah, it already has sustained quite a lot of damage from just a little bit of chip here and there across the game. Romania aren't losing for sure, and USA aren't winning commandingly either. It could go either way. The advantage of only about 3,000 gold in the favor of Romania, it really doesn't feel like an advantage at all, since all of that gold is tied up inside the towers. Right now the tower advantage towards Romania's side is massively in their favor. They're up 4, and once those start falling, it's actually the USA to have a lead when it comes to the gold. So Ember Spirit going to be looking potentially for the Nature's Prophet. He spotted him out with the Sentry Ward around the corner, but won't bump into him.
Yeah, and now Slog has gone for the Shadow Blade. I haven't seen too many builds where Sanjin Yosha and then going back for the Shadow Blade, but it makes sense. The only problem being he now doesn't have that Quelling Blade to knock down getting trapped in trees. But you just have to assume at that point, right? You're just got to be like, look, my positioning will be superior, or Wyvern will save me by landing her Arctic Bone just there. Gonna try to pick off this Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet also has a Shadow Blade though, but good AoE damage on Banana Slam Jammer, but not quite enough. And he's not gonna bother chasing. He's like, look, I made you leave. I'm fine with this. So, and the TP out. At the same time, what's going on in the river? Night Stalker being chased by a Dragon Knight. Blink on cooldown, Searing Chains do latch. Maybe they're gonna back up, but here comes Luna. Maybe she's just gonna try to kill everyone, and again, Night Stalker. He's super fast. He gets stunned up by the BKB Night Stalker. Tombstone has been dropped. He's up in the air, but here comes Nature's Prophet. Nice Winter's Coast, though, stopping all of them. They're gonna be attacking Luna, and now Undying. He's gonna be the focus of a lot of their damage. Laguna Blade coming up, and Undying's not the target you want to worry about. Luna going down, Luna going down, and now there is no hope for Witch Dogs. They're gonna try to heal up, and looking like this game just starting to change directions. Maybe it's going to be going all the way for USA. That should put the gold lead firmly in their hands. And yeah, we can see that shoot down. They're still hunting. I don't think they can catch him. There is no hope. Yeah, you have all that vision, but he's going to blink in like 2 seconds. Yeah, so in the meantime, Nature's Prophet is like, look, something just went horribly wrong. I'm out. I'm top again, guys. Have some fun, team.
Yeah, so. And they will. They'll take a tier 1 tower and immediately after fact put a lot of pressure onto the tier 2 right afterwards. If Night Stalker had backup, I think he Ghost Red. He could have canceled the blink with like an urn or a void, something along those lines.
Yeah,
but
he was
just too far away.
I think he was just, and if he showed himself, I think, even though it's nighttime, better vision to get in range of those spells, I think it would have spooked the Dragon Knight. But yeah, ends up still, I think, a really excellent trade for them, for the side of USA. And yeah, now we're seeing this issue with those split push lineups. Now, it's not like all they have is Death Ball push. They still have a Luna. She is a hero that does scale with those glaives, and she can hit pretty hard. We're seeing her weakness, though, is that she, even with that buff, not terribly tanky, and Slog is hunting again, but he runs under the tower again. He's like, whatever, I don't see anyone immediately, I'm just gonna take this tower. Luna actually being in a really precarious position. I'm a little bit surprised by her positioning, but yeah, she does back up, realizing none of that's stacked, so.
Yeah, right now the Radiant team have to play very risky in the sense that even if they're not riskily positioned, everywhere is risky for them right now because they have no wards on the map. The gem on the Night Stalker means that they are completely blind, and it's really terrifying. They have to farm up Ancients as pretty much their whole team. Lena's hiding in the trees down towards south, and Nature's Prophet's doing his best to split push. But yeah, it's considerably less income than what the enemy team is going to be picking up.
Yeah, and despite just all of these supports, despite all of this gold being pumped into them, I guess Undying, even though he was off lane, he's kind of their support. He actually might be going the Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, looks like that's going to be the item. I don't think there's anything else.
Wasn't expecting that. What about a Solar Crest? You pop it on Luna, she can't hit anything? I don't know. I think
you can purge that off with BKB and Manta Style.
I think that's what they worry about now. It's like, it's purgeable, it's not as good, and I still think Glimmer Cape is good, but at the same time, they're really not having trouble with all the magic damage coming out, so no. I'm excited to see the Aghanim Scepter Undying. I haven't seen that before, so let's see. And Night Stalker he's had the gem for a bit though, I just didn't miss that. He picked up a Force Staff, which should help with getting people out of those Nature's Prophet trees. So some really nice items coming out for this Dire team. And of course, he has the Guardian Greaves, with which he can purge off the silence if it's used on him. Undying, it's not maybe as focused, but it's definitely something where the Soul Rip can save lives, especially if he can proc up enough zombies. But probably not going to be one of the game-deciding factors, but it is something he can do to help their sustain.
At this point, how do they kill the Slark? He has a BKB up, and right now, most of their damage is magical, and even if it's not, Slark is going to be able to bounce out of there very quickly. Luna's committed for the BKB, a lot of cost-efficient items here and there, but the physical DPS just isn't enough. So inside these fights, BSJ is almost immune to everything that's coming out from the enemy team. His Aegis is no longer there, however, so if they can manage to kill him off once, he is out of the fight. Yeah,
it definitely feels like this Slog is getting a little bit larger than they can handle at this point in the game. Of course, at the same time, as you mentioned, if he's out of position for maybe too long, they have a number of tools to deal with him. They, of course, will need dust as well. The thing to mention is Dragon Knight is getting close to an AC. That's going to help their entire team and make the buildings easier to siege. So it is just one of those things where maybe Nature's Prophet split pushing, maybe the DK uses DK form and gets a lot of that dot damage on this mid or top tower, and they can have exposed racks. It's not... You know, this split push is still very real. Nightstalker going ham, and Slok actually now looking... Slok also has increased nighttime vision, I believe, just as a hero. But he may be walking into danger. He is in... Oh, they catch him out with the blink, and that's what they needed to do. There is the silence, but he, of course, can pop BKB, and he does pop that Shadow Dance to try and get away. So Eclipse kind of wasted, maybe not knowing the right timing, but they forced a BKB charge out, and I think that's worth it at this point in the game.
10-second BKB for Eclipse, although it is potentially going to slow down the ability of Romania to take that fight. It's going to help them in the long run since they don't have great ways to deal with a magic immune Slark. If he has lower cooldown than BKB, they won't have to deal with the magic immunity Slark for as long inside all of those upcoming fights. Yeah, as you said, probably worth it.
Yeah. But we will see. Luna doesn't feel like she's had a new item in a while. I know she bought back in one of the lost fights. Oh, there's something coming out on the courier tour, but will it make it? No, Splinter Blast's not actually going to lead to them setting up a kill, but DK in the lane, he's just trying to TP out, but they Winter's Curse him, and now he's taking a lot of damage. Of course, those Essence Shifts still proccing, and now he's going to be in a lot of trouble. I think he just inevitably falls. Dire Structures have been fortified as well, though, to try and do something about this Nature's Prophet, but he yules up the Undying. Maybe they can get a kill. Actually, Lena just TPing out. Not quite sure why she's not helping her tree brethren, and he may be in a spot of trouble because he's... Okay, he's just going to TP Shadow Blade out, which, yeah. But the pick on the DK, pretty big. I think that's already... No, it was an 8-second BKB. I thought it was much lower. And now Luna in the hot seat, but just gonna TP out, feeling like something's wrong. They didn't walk over a ward or anything. I think Luna just like, it doesn't feel safe right now in anywhere. They did get bottom tower, though, so it's something.
That bottom tower... At this point in the game, I don't think means that much. All that really matters is if they're able to transition to high ground, but what does matter is an Aghanim Scepter on the Witch Doctor. This Witch Doctor's been pretty poor, but now has his first major item pickup, and is farming reasonably well, comparable to the other supports. It's taken a while to get to this point, but if they can get a good Death Ward channel off, that could be the damage that they've been lacking in a couple of these last fights.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Slok at some point will trade out these boots for bots and these drums for a Scotty, and then... Oh, I don't know how you kill him. I agree with you. Like, he's not unkillable yet, right? He's nigh unkillable, but they almost killed him earlier. Excuse me, and it was that 10-second BKB charge, and they chose to disengage, but he's gonna get stronger and stronger, and nothing is slowing down his farm. And he's only 3-3 and 7. Like, it's kind of funny. He really just has been farming up a storm, very comfortable on this hero. We see a smoke gank coming out, or something like it, and they will run into the jungle, but nobody's there. I think they're going to perform their own smoke gank on this USA side. Yep, and we're going to see, will we see the loop-the-loop? My favorite thing is when teams smoke gank and they do this action. Like, just missing each other, miss circle. But it doesn't look like they're going to. They're going to head into this radiant jungle, going to see if they can find Team Romania, but no such luck. And both Team Smoke's going to miss out. DK maybe popping his head mid, breathing some fire. They're just going to turn it into a top push. Nature's Prophet coming up as well. This could do a lot of damage. The Dragon Knight needs to get up there, but probably all of USA needs to come home and defend. This tower is really low, and they're beginning work on it.
Going to be dropped very fast, and it's going to go down. They have no glyph. They have no way to protect that tier 3. But barracks should be held. The creep waves are going to be cleared up on both sides, and right now it's just if they make a clean retreat, they'll jump forward. Keanu, he is going to get bashed up. They have the Glimmer Cape to buy him a little bit more space, but is it enough? BSJ is going to change targets onto Raze. Van is on the backlines. Winter's Curse is going to be dropped onto the Luna. She got the Eclipse off, however, so they still need to give her a wide berth. They'll look for the Laguna Blade, and the BSJ is going to be dropped in a half HP, canceling the TP of Keanu with that Void. They'll lose their Dragonite, although no bash comes out onto the Luna. They'll be able to mop up 3 kills, paying dearly for that tier 3 tower.
They'll push bottom, so they'll bots in, probably get that bottom tower. Lena, it seemed like she and the Dragonite had a disagreement on what to do there. She Laguna Bladed Slok, and Dragonite TP'd, and of course his BKB wasn't still active, so he took a lot of damage. And yeah, just really bad push for them. Also, they didn't back out all at the same time. The Luna was still there. She popped her BKB to stand and fight under the tombstone, and that really doesn't help. I do believe Eclipse still hits zombies, but I could be wrong. I thought it hit zombies.
I think at one point it did for sure, but
I don't know if it does right now.
Yeah, I'm not 100%.
Chat will
I really
correct
don't know.
us shortly, so we'll know either way. We just have to say something wrong. But yeah, it didn't seem like a fantastic ultimate, and really not looking good for this side of Romania. They do still, of course, have the rat that they can play, but it's, you know, if your base is missing, it's hard to rat, and Banana Slam Jammer looking like he is perfectly ready to siege their base.
Absolutely. Ember Spirit, now going to be the proud owner of an Aegis of the Immortal. Again, these heroes aren't that great at sieging high ground, but when you have this many items, the hero's weaknesses are definitely made up for, and then some. The Slark is hitting comfortably one major item over the Luna, and the items that Luna has built into aren't going to allow her to man-fight the Slark in any way, shape, or form. Really, if you're going to be man-fighting a Slark, you need Butterfly, at the very least, on top of what she has, and maybe even a damage item on top of that.
Yeah, but in the meantime, they have another one-man smoke up, but Nightstalker, he doesn't need smoke. He wants to go on these two heroes. He's saying, rally the troops, and they are backing out, though, on Team Romania, realizing that something smells funky. In the meantime, they see this Slok rotation. They saw him turn invisible, but they're still scared between their towers. Slok going in, Banana Slam Jammer, he manages to make it latch, but there's going to be the immediate BKB out. But Banana Slam Jammer can just back now. He pops that BKB. I believe that's a 8-second charge, that one. Doesn't matter if he doesn't have it for the team fight, though, feeling nigh unkillable. And Luna's still gonna keep pushing up this top lane. Maybe if she can get it in a good position, they'll be fine trading this mid tower, but I think this mid tower gonna fall very fast under all the damage. Ember Spirit also has picked up a Daedalus, so Nature's Prophet's gonna need to keep those trees well away from his team. Being in a different lane from them will help out, but let's see what happens. Looking like they want to go for the high ground. They do have that Aegis on Ember Spirit. They have everything they need, I feel.
Probably, but right now they have to deal with these side lanes. They're not 100% comfortable in committing when there is an exposed lane of barracks up towards top that Luna is right by. Massacre is there, has a BKB TP if things get really south, as long as there's no Slark to bash her out of it, or a Winter's Curse. She could feasibly get out after the fact. Right now, the Radiant team don't see anybody except for the Slark, and that's a bit terrifying. But if they get confirmation that their hero's behind the Slark, or if they know exactly where everybody is, now they know that there's an Ember Spirit, but still, then maybe Massacre can make that base trade play. Luna, although maybe inside these team fights isn't that effective, can very easily go for the buildings and for the structures.
Yeah. I'm actually... Oh, okay, that was an interesting thing to... Whoa. My goodness.
He knows.
Yeah, I think he saw her with that, but doesn't care, or maybe didn't quite. I thought the Remnant may have seen that, but never mind. They're just gonna keep farming, and Luna has left the building, so...
Yeah, right now they're disputing whether or not there was a ward here with pings coming out from their team. I think that's just good game sense coming out from the Ember Spirit. Not seeing Luna on lanes at all for a long time is very sketchy. And I know that they're probably not smoke ganking, it's just not that time. They're going to ping down towards bottom. The Lina has pushed out a little too far, and if she sticks around, could be in a lot of trouble. Right now, they're under Darkness Vision, and that's absolutely terrifying. Darkness is going to expire shortly, but now...
They picked up a gem on the Radiant side as well. I kind of missed when that came out exactly. It's going to be helpful, but Lena's carrying it right now, and she dies every single team fight pretty much. She managed to get away in that last one, but not feeling good. At the same time, up top, they have found the Luna. The latch, the shackles don't latch, so she's just going to walk it off and go home. Her TP was on cooldown low, so that should have been disastrous. In bottom lane, they jump forward onto the Slog. They got him turned into a little piggy, but it's not enough. They do manage to hit the Light Striker. It is enough. The Light Striker doing it, and now they've got the Death Ward bouncing around. Look at it go. They're doing a lot of damage. The Tombstone also doing a lot of damage. They finally kill off the zombie man. They kill off the Tombstone. That's the Aegis down. This team fight is huge for Team Romania, and they've got creeps pushing top. Can they kill him off? Is the Scythe of Ice back on cooldown? Doesn't matter. They have Eclipse coming out. So suddenly Team Romania coming out of nowhere. That's a huge team fight for them. A little under 4k gold swing, but that is more than enough. You killed the Slok. You killed the Ember Spirit twice before you could Remnant away. And I have to say, a lot of that just really good team synergy. They stacked, or what's it called? Not stacked them. They put their stuns out perfectly, not overlapping them at all. Chained them. That's the word I wanted. So, just a beautifully done play. Now Nightstalker picks up an invis, probably not going to be able to make anything happen because most of his team is dead. I'm really surprised he just hasn't come back up here, right? Because he isn't the one who comes to D-push. Ember Spirit actually buying back.
He has to. Absolutely. The Slark now has buyback and is available for this high ground defense, but that's really the cost of it all. Invis Nightstalker going to be stocking Synergy right now, silencing up the Nature's Prophet. He has no TP cooldown for 10 seconds, but then again, Nightstalker doesn't have enough damage to stop that. Huge exchange in Romania's favor in those last couple minutes of this game. They're not able to use that incredibly effectively when it comes to putting pressure on the high ground, however. What they do get is that Ember Spirit buyback, and they have definitely put a dent in things, and a big chunk out of that net worth advantage that was once held by USA is now completely gone. Still anybody's game. The big deciding factor is if they're able to kill off the Ember Spirit again and make sure that Slayer doesn't have buyback for that high ground defense. Right now pushing the Ember is almost impossible. One slight kills off all of those trees and will kill off pretty much every creep wave that comes to their base. So yeah, a new lease on life for Romania. They've found some more space, and that's going to transition to the next item, and it looks like it's going to be a Scotty for Luna. Yeah, or actually, whose point booster was that? That was Lena's, excuse me.
Yeah, it's, as you mentioned, it's one of those things where, because not only are we approaching the late game, but just because both of these teams have huge amounts of damage, whoever takes a team fight is able to take a Rax. So you have to use those buybacks to support yourselves, and it's going to be really interesting to see kind of who blinks first, who gets into the bad engagement, whether we're just going to see another, 20 minutes of skirmishes before that one big clash, or what exactly is going to happen in this team fight. So, because there's going to be a big team fight, probably around Roshan, where that's usually what happens. We don't know how long he's going to be down for yet, though, just because of how Roshan works.
Yeah, 2 minutes until we have confirmation, and that Roshan hit. And as far as the item progression for both sides is concerned, it looks like a Aghanim Scepter up for the Lina will be the next order of business. They're going to Glimmer forward on said Lina, but I believe that was spotted by the Nightstalker just on the edge of his vision. Nature's Prophet's there too with a blind sprout. They're looking for somebody, but they're not going to find anybody. Instead, yeah, the chains will catch on to Nature's Prophet, and he's the one that's caught out. But every team is going to back off for now, trying to get away. Another big sleight of fist, and Synergy's down to very low amounts of HP. A tense situation. Do they really want to keep on going?
No, they backed all the way out, and I think once one Searing Chain's latching, you get critted, you're like, I'm out. I'm Dunsky for right now. And yeah, they are gonna have a push up top. I don't even know if they'll contest this tier 2. Maybe try to make space elsewhere on the map, but it's gonna be interesting. The tier 2 is hard for the side who owns it to fight just because of that high ground advantage. You can see with the steps being down here, but Nature's Prophet's coming up, so maybe they're gonna do something here. He might just be throwing bodies at it. Of course, with an Ember Spirit, maybe not the right thing, and Banana Slam Jam is just gonna kill those off very quickly with the Dog Pack, so we'll be seeing what exactly happens this next team fight. Looking like they are going to ignore it, maybe push up mid. They'd gotten that tower very low about 20 minutes ago. So, we'll see. And this top tower is going to fall really fast.
And I don't think that Romania are interested in defending it. This top tier 2 tower doesn't mean very much in the grand scheme of things. A little bit of gold for the USA side, sure, but that gold isn't going to mean too much at all. Slark, as far as his next item is concerned, not sure what it's going to be. He has enough money for a Moonshard now, but will probably want to hold buyback before he gets something else, and might just want to outright replace the Midas with something big. Things have slowed down, and a lot of it's due to the fact that Romania have been doing a good job at keeping these lanes pressured. Nature's Prophet in particular has been very active.
He's gonna get some backdoor action going on just because their creeps are close enough, so he's gonna get this ranged Rax down to about half health before all the babies are dead. And he has the funky Treant babies. I thought he had the flower set, but he does, and then he has, I guess the flower set uses the horse babies, because flowers and horses go together.
It's a mixed bag for Nature's Prophet this game when it comes to his cosmetics.
Yeah, so he's got those horse baby trees going. They're doing good work, and I really like that play, just having the presence of mind. Hey, the creeps are close enough. I can get some action on this top rack. So, gonna be really nicely done there. But as we said, it's gonna slow way down. And do we know? No. Oh, Roshan's really shorter than average. Not really short. That would be 8 minutes, but it is pretty short. So, probably the Night Stalker will be the first one to spot this out just with the increased vision. Yeah, he's going to run by the pit, it looks like, going to go farm bottom lane. So they'll know Roshan's up, and there's going to be a big team fight here, or one team's just going to give it up, right? Maybe they blink forwards and kill off these folks. The enemy's out there. There's the blink forwards. There's the Dragon Tail. A lot of damage going out onto Night Stalker, and they managed to pick him off if they can take the gem as well. TP forwards aggressively by Nature's Prophet, but that was the team fight they needed. I don't know if Night Stalker had actually seen Roche because of the path he took. I didn't see him ping it out. Maybe they're just going to try to go for a push, but I think getting Roshan and then going for a push, just being able to die twice, making you infinitely stronger. Of course, they have to put it on the Luna, because if Dragon Knight dies, he would lose Dragon Form. And yeah, they're going for the Roshan. Banana Slam Jammin knows, though. He's like, look, Something's fishy. I got my Silver's Edge up. Let's go kill things. He has an Abyssal Blade. He actually doesn't know. They get the top racks just because of the creep positioning. Really nice backdooring out of Nature's Prophet. And they're going to get this Roshan for free, it looks like.
Yeah,
I thought
big
Banana
turn of
Slam
events
Jam
for
and you.
Romania. No, the Night Stalker
He was picking up, he was picking up the Abyssal Blade instead.
They had no idea that Roshan was up, and even if he knew, there's no way you make that play. I believe the gem is still controlled by the Lina. Shadow Blade in the pit is not an option. If he pounces in the pit, that's way too ballsy, and no real way that works out for him alone. So I think that's absolutely the correct play. Having the Abyssal is nice, but I'm not sure if Romania were paying enough attention, but Nightstalker just picked up a side device, so it's not out of the question to extrapolate that his Nightstalker might not have buyback, but they're still going to find themselves with a good map lead. Another gem picked up this game. I believe it's the third purchased in this match, but right now the Dire is going control and the Radiant another. Map control is definitely the name of the game, and I'm not sure how long this game is going to last. It looks like we're in for...
we could be in for a long one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but Witch Doctor gonna be relinquishing his gem into the fountain. There is another gem picked up. They're just gonna put it immediately on the Night Stalker. As you said, Scythe of Vice, it makes a lot of sense from a utility perspective, not maybe something we're used to seeing on a Night Stalker, but I love it just because, look, what are you having trouble with? Oh, all these heroes attacking us. Well, let's just make them into little piggies. So really good. And also an extra disable for that Witch Doctor's Death Ward. Last team fight that Team Romania won was on the back. I mean, the Death Ward was doing huge amounts of damage. There was also a lot of beautiful CC chaining, but the Death Ward certainly helping their damage because as we've talked about, Luna, she's not hitting like a truck yet. She's hitting like a small car, like what I would call a ute. But she isn't that truck status. She's only doing about 300 damage, so...
I'd say she's hitting truck status. Maybe not semi-truck, but she does have a butterfly up, right?
We'll go with a small truck, so that we agree. But yeah, I mean, now she's going to have the Satanic very soon, and that is going to make her, like... that makes her harder to kill. I don't think she's Slok levels of unkillable, but it's certainly something where it's like, hey, we've got the Luna low, oh, oops, it's a Satanic. So
yeah, right now the Luna is incredibly difficult to deal with that evasion. No MKB on the Slark, and no MKB in sight for the Slark, and also none for the Ember Spirit. So no way to deal with that means that Luna's able to sit inside these fights a lot more comfortably. Yeah, so I think this is getting really close towards either sides when it comes in the team fights. Although Slark is sitting on a good net worth advantage over the Luna, he hasn't actually invested that into his next major item and is still holding onto that Hand of Midas inside his inventory. As the game progresses later and later, the items on, or the net worth rather, of the top cores inside this game means less and less.
yeah. Looking at buyback, we have buyback on everybody except for Night Stalker, Undying, and Witch Doctor. I would actually prefer that Witch Doctor pick it up because there are times when sometimes you don't get off your Death Ward and you die just because of positioning, and so him having buyback would be nice, and he's probably slowly working on it, but there are a lot of buybacks in this game, and that is kind of how people play. I'm a little bit scared if Luna buys out for the Satanic, it could be GG, just because you have to win the team fight in that case. But I'm not sure if she will. And they still have this Aegis for another 2 minutes to play with. They actually did put it on the Dragon Knight. I was a little bit surprised there. He doesn't respawn with Dragon form.
No.
Right?
But still...
Maybe they're just going to hold it till the second life.
No, I don't think so. Okay, so generally how you use an Aegis when you're breaking high ground is you want to put it on your Seizure. And I'd say that Luna is probably a better target to hold it. But it does change the way how they're going to approach that fight. Yeah, Slark is hunting. He's not going to be successful.
Killed the ogre, and that's so rude. I mean, he broke it and then he killed it. I don't know, but yeah, I agree with you. I think it should have been on the Luna, but it's entirely possible she's like, look, I have a lot of items. I'm going to eventually sell drums for a TP or go bots eventually. She, I think, is trying to make sure she has enough for Satanic and buyback. Meanwhile, top lane being pushed in by those big ranged creeps and tree babies. So you always have to watch out here.
Yeah, it's something that they need to be constantly diligent of, and the Ember Spirit is going to deal with that somewhat, but as far as Ember Spirit's side progression is concerned, looks like it's going to be a Linken's for him, I want to say, to stop the Scythe of Ice coming up from Nature's Prophet or the Orchid, something along those lines. But maybe he needs a little bit more damage. The waves, aren't instantly dying.
It can be Monta as well, but as you said, I'm pretty sure it's one of those items. No, it is that Linken's, yeah, that's fully bought up. Kind of interesting, but definitely, as you said, it's going to help him not die as much. In the meantime, again, we're back into that. We're in the same stage we were exactly 10 minutes ago. You know how we were like, oh yeah, there's going to be a big team fight. Well, kind of didn't. It happened, but it was a pick-off, and they got the rush on, and they weren't able to make this Aegis do anything. So we're going to go back to waiting for either team to kind of blink and push first, or lose a team fight, be caught out of position like the Night Stalker was. So
Yeah. This game is progressing incredibly slow right now. Neither team can seize a major advantage because of the gems that are on the table for both teams. Wards aren't lasting very long, although right now Dire have incredible vision. They pop the Night Stalker ultimate, and that'll mean that the enemy team has to retreat a little bit. They'll seize control over the vision of the map, but they also don't want to push into the Aegis, so even though they have a little bit of control, they don't have a way to transition that into a tower push or an objective or anything, really. This game doesn't change unless somebody gets picked off, and it's just going to be one of those.
yeah. So we'll be seeing he's doing good crits on that mid lane. And Witch Doctor has the cheese. I wonder if this is just going to be a pass over the cheese, you know? Or whether it's going to be a case that he's actually going to try to use it. He hasn't picked up anything for a while. He still doesn't have buyback, a little ways away, but they're headed up top. They haven't smoked or anything, but at the same time, they should be able to see Slock there. I'm not quite sure what he was doing. Well, but Nature's Prophet goes aggressively forwards, doesn't manage to catch anyone in the trees, but they see him with those big creeps coming out, and everybody's going to kind of back out. Dragon Knight blinking way aggressively forwards is going to have the Eclipse coming out as well, and they haven't dropped the Wyvern ulti. The bouncing Death Ward doing great work, going to kill off that Wyvern, and Slog has to run away for his life, and their Ember Spirit is still trying to do, if he gotten crits, he actually Remnants back in, not quite sure whether he meant to do that or made a slight mistake there. Then DK, he's coming, the Lincoln is popped, and now they're going to have the silence coming out, and this is a very dead Ember Spirit. A bit of a misplay. Oh, not a bit. A huge misplay. I don't think Ember Spirit clicked on the correct Remnant. Unless he thought he could get another crit side of fist.
He really wanted that side of fist. That was the play there. That was what he wanted to be doing there. He got a huge side of fist here where 4 heroes were grouped up. Everybody was crit down in low HP. If he's able to replicate that again, he gets himself an ultra kill. He plays things a little bit fast and loose. He's going to be punished, but he does have buyback available and is forced to spend that now. Keep in mind, however, this is buyback after having buyback cooldown added already. His next respawn is going to be like 2 minutes at least. So this is a last-ditch effort now, and they're going to be able to catch him again. Pop the Lincolns with the Orchid looking for the Scythe. Not going to happen, but the melee barracks have already fallen with no trade in sight. Slark's getting a wraparound on mid. They're going to look for this Keanu pick up. They'll get the Hex onto him, but DK's incredibly tanky with the massive amount of armor that he has. They'll Hex up BSJ, blink forward, Dragon Tail onto the Slark. They catch him in place, a Hex to follow up. There's nothing the Slark can do about this massive amount of disables, but his teammates will be able to force staff him out and keep him in play. Now regenning up, he's going to re-engage, gets the pounce to land onto Keanu. The Dragon Knight in a bit of trouble. The Death Ward again going to be channeled. Nothing's canceling it. BSJ dropping low will get up towards the high ground and will survive a while longer. Slayer dropping. He'll be able to remnant so much mobility from either side. Raised Fan finally brought down as Banaslam Gemma gets himself a double kill. Hex onto Masquerade, Winter's Curse again onto the Luna. This fight has been going on forever, but eventually they'll be able to repel the Romanians out of their base, but at the cost of some pretty big structures. Melee barracks up top and tier 3 in mid. Nature's Prophet kills off the Winter Wyvern with the death of the Necronomicon warrior, and Ember Spirit kills off Lena.
Yeah, so they get their gem back eventually, and it's something that is really, the buybacks ended up working out, and they've lost only one Rax. Again, we're 56 minutes in. The Rax doesn't mean much, and it's certainly something that I'm really impressed they managed to hold. So going to work out for them. Again, these Nature's Prophet making sure to keep pressure on all the lanes, hoping that his team won't have to use the buyouts. So
yeah, this is still a very delicate timing window for USA, since they don't have buyback available on the Ember Spirit most crucially, and Undying also was forced to buy back in that last fight. So things are a very dangerous game for them should Ember Spirit die, most importantly. Although the lane of barracks is definitely not the end of this game, they do require the Ember Spirit to keep these lanes pushed. Slark is a menace when he's dealing with single targets, and he does a massive amount of damage inside these fights with the Moon Shard consumed as well. But his lane clearing is very limited. The Dark Pact, especially against the super creeps pushing in top, isn't going to be enough.
yeah, he has one more item, and it's a, what? It's a refresher.
I love it. Okay.
Wow, I understand it, but it's certainly going to be really interesting to see.
I really do think it's the item. Right now, he's so tied down to his cooldowns inside these fights. Double Abyssal, double Shadow Dance, double BKB. It's I think the right choice from BSJ. I've watched him play Slark a couple times, and this tends to be his 6th and final slot.
It should really help out, and yeah, I really like, as you said, it's got a lot of good work it can do. The other thing I wanted to mention is we didn't see in one of the team fights, he really held onto that Abyssal Blade. I'm not quite sure who he wanted to target. It ended up being that they managed to kill folks, so it worked out fine, but I was really surprised how long Banana Slam Jammer held onto the Abyssal Blade. I think he wants that DK or Luna right now, and so they're gonna get up the Aegis, and again, we're back where we were again, just because neither team can blink. Nature's Prophet's going to keep doing some pressure, but yeah, it's still anyone's game, especially with an Ember Spirit. Even if this went to Megas or Super, Megas bigger than Supers, yes. Right? Yeah, sorry, they changed up the names at some point, but yeah, Megas, you can still win with an Ember Spirit if he does enough crits. He does technically have one more item slot, which if it's another crit or the MKB, maybe he'll have enough damage, so...
Yeah, it'll definitely be close. Mid lane, they catch out Synergy, spotted out by the Night Stalker. He has a gem and a hex onto him. Silence up, Synergy might be in a little bit of trouble here. He doesn't have immediate follow-up. Slark's coming in from the south pretty quickly, but not fast enough. Can they go for the wraparound? He can TP out. Another hex comes through, and Synergy in a lot of trouble. The pounce, although it misses more than enough damage, Night Stalker ends the killing spree. However, Nature's Prophet does have buyback, and top lane is pushing in.
Yeah, so again... it's going to be a nice little pickup for them. Nature's Prophet is the one they needed. They are getting damage on the racks, and DK is all the way up here. Ember Spirit, no, not going to be able to catch him out, just missing. But yeah, they're getting good damage. This is one of those other things you have to watch out. When you're missing a lane of racks, you have to watch onto your tier 4s at the same time. Let's see what happens in this mid lane. We're going to have Lina trying to wave clear a little bit. Witch Doctor could also throw out the coconuts, but oh, there's the Bleed Prior. I believe he needs to save the coconuts for this exactly, but completely taken by Banana Slam Jammer. So... and yeah, they still haven't damaged this tier 3 tower, so it's looking hard. They've still got a while to siege just because of the positioning of their creep wave up here.
Chase forward, BSJ is going into the base, gets a pounce onto Raze Van. They have a sentry on the ground going to open up with the Winter's Curse and the Abyssal. A little bit of layering there, but doesn't matter. They're able to get that kill. Buyback from the Witch Doctor. A courier is going to die. Radiant's courier has fallen. And with that buyback from the Witch Doctor, they are going to back out. BSJ is going to TP down towards bottom. They have to deal with the Luna that's still pushing now with her Boots of Travel on her person. She's going to go back towards her base. Slark shouldn't be able to catch her out and won't.
Yeah, she has finished Satanic. She has buyback. She needs to replace these drums with something, but we'll see what's going to be up next. And
Daedalus.
I am not sure. I have
it's
okay, yeah, apparently it is. Never mind. Yeah, I mean, it's an item. I don't know if it's the item, but you know that Slark is 6-slotted, right? So
okay,
it's
so right now, Luna doesn't need any more survivability, and Slark doesn't have a slot to put an MKB. He's probably going to have to replace something with it down the line, maybe Sanjin Yasha. So the options here for Luna are either pick up Moonshard and consume it, which is, I think, a pretty good option,
fantastic,
or just get a massive amount of damage, and I think Daedalus is the way to accomplish that. I think the Daedalus pickup is her best chance at being able to win a fight against this Slark. She'll still need some backup from her team.
Oh, DK, he killed a regen rune. So sad. But they're going up for this top lane. Maybe not. They're now headed mid. I think they have a couple different options here. They can try to take another Rax, but they could also just try to get a good team fight and go tier 4s. With those glaives bouncing around, it's actually Luna is one of the easiest people to kill, you know, the tier 4s instead of going actually for another lane of Rax. So we'll see. But Ember Spirit also still no signs. He has 5k. A lot of people in this game are ridiculously rich. We've got like over 3k gold on 3 people. So I think not only saving for buyback, but just people not sure what to pick up and wanting to make sure they have enough if they die and have to buy back. So
an item that we haven't talked about this game that was picked up just a while ago, Lina, despite picking up the point booster a long time prior inside this game, decides to go for a Lotus Orb, and I like it a lot. With so many hexes on the field right now, I believe we have one on the Night Stalker, one on the Nature's Prophet. It feels like we have a lot more than that, actually. I think that's because of the reduced cooldown in the last patch, 30 seconds. These fights have been going so long that they've come off of cooldown time and time again, but being able to purge off that with the Lotus Orb and maybe even reflecting Abyssal in an ideal scenario could be absolutely crucial. It's one of those items that's kind of hard to evaluate at face value, but inside the fight could be huge.
Yeah, and we'll see. I hope it reflects a Wyvern ult or even just that Abyssal Blade, or as you said, purging it off. Luna actually still pushing. They're not even bothering to defend. I don't know if they're going to have the TPs back. They're now using the Glyph. This usually indicates whether they're going to TP back, but they are TPing in deeper. They're just going to trade Rax for a Rax. Nature's Prophet, he's going to get this ranged Rax down, and now we have TPs coming back as well. This is a fight all over the place. DK trying to get forwards enough to blink, stun somebody so that he can stop the TPs, but instead, they've already gotten mid-range Rax, and now Luna Illusion's going to do half damage to this bottom tower. Night Stalker is trying to chase her. He's very fast, but not fast enough, and she also has nighttime vision. Ember Spirit gonna pick up a DD, because that's what happens. And yeah, we'll see.
Aegis has been reclaimed, however, so he's not going to have that fallback mechanism. It's going to be a full MKB purchased by him.
Yeah.
He had some components on the Courier. Courier also has 2 gems, worth noting, but Ember Spirit is now properly 6-slotted. You can upgrade the Boots of Travel, and you can get Moonshard, but Moonshard's a lot less relevant on Ember Spirit than it is a lot of other carries. Doesn't rely on his attack speed too much, so I'm not even sure if he's going to pick one up yet. Maybe just buy the utility for the teams when it comes to consumables and share the load with the supports. But right now, it is absolutely stacked. This DD looks like it's going to be irrelevant. Unfortunate, maybe. It's a lot of fun to see those big Battle Fury crits, although that's good. A trade for Romania, and it's probably the biggest thing we've seen happen in the last 5 minutes. It also doesn't change the state of the game too much.
DK, he does blink away. I was a bit worried he was too far forwards because there's a Night Stalker. They're trying to battle these big creeps. Night Stalker actually taking a lot of damage. They're pinging him out like they want to take advantage of his low health. I'm not sure if they're going to do it. He's forced off backwards, so it's going to be A-okay. The other really interesting thing about picking up the MKB, of course, it's going to help against the evasion, but crit,
Blink stun, top frozen is going to take the Dragon Tail and they'll blow up the Wyvern. There is buyback available.
Here comes Ember Spirit doing some crits. I don't know if it's enough though. They're going to take out this Tombstone really quickly, and as you said, there is the buyback. There's the TP in for off. Now Ember's Dragon Knight taking a lot of damage, gets Abyssal Bladed up. I don't think there was a way out, but if they only trade the the DK for it, no, they're also going to lose Nature's Prophet. Both of them, of course, have buyback, but that's a lot to lose just for that kill on Wyvern. And yeah, you forced a buyback, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Lena also TPing out. She was nowhere near to poach stuff off. So
the best case they can hope for after that trade is to force out buybacks from the Nature's Prophet and Dragon Knight. They might be successful in doing so, and although that's good, I don't think, as I said before, it changes the state of the game too much. You need to get a kill on a hero that already has buyback on cooldown. This is the first step for USA. Put those buybacks on cooldown so
actually,
that becomes
Luna
an option.
in a bit of trouble. Slayer is calling on her. Actually, maybe a miscommunication there. She uses that Eclipse while he's up in the air. She's going to get Searing Chains again. She does have the Satanic. She's now going to have it popped, but they can't see Banana Slam Jammer, and how can she do anything when she can't see him? He's also probably going to use that break and now taking a lot of damage. There is the Winter's Curse, and Luna is going down. Finally going to do some damage. Finally going to be able to actually attack her. They're going to need to use all their buybacks.
And right now they have 3 available. Dragon Knight, Luna, as well as the Nature's Prophet. They're holding the Luna and the Nature's Prophet buybacks now, but oh my goodness!
Yeah, goodbye, Lena. She's going to need to buy out as well.
They're not spending them yet. It looks like they're going to give up at least this tier 3 and probably the melee barracks after the fact. Buybacks, a rainbow of buybacks coming out from the Radiant team. Can they catch BSJ? He's going to purge off this scythe. He's going to leap away, has a Glimmer Cape applied towards him. They don't even get the melee barracks. A good hold coming out from Romania, but now they need to get something. BSJ is going to open up on the Massacre. Bashes onto the Luna. She's going to pop her BKB. The man fight between these 2 carries is going to favor the Slark. Although Satank is there, the other heroes walking up is going to mean that Slark is at a slight disadvantage. They'll lose the Wyvern. BSJ is silenced up, fighting against Synergy. BSJ low is going to go down, but he has buyback available and can Boots of Travel back into this fight with no buyback on the Nature's Prophet and the Luna. It looks like this might all be over. Chasing forward, Goodnight is going to look for the Luna and the Dragon Knight. Not successfully ever. They'll get the melee barracks and the ranged barracks down towards bottom, swing mid, and go for the slow and steady play. This should be mega creeps in the favor of the Dire.
Yeah, I think this might be GG, unfortunately. It's looking really hard to come back from this, especially when they had the buyback advantage, right? The USA team in that team fight went in with knowing they all had buybacks, and Romania had to buy back to just take the fight. So we have a blink forwards onto Slayer. They managed to pop the the Lincolns anyway, but now he's Abyssal Bladed up. It is being purged off by the Lotus Orb, but she is turned into a little piggy, this Lena, and she's going to be dead as well shortly. There's the Death Ward coming up. Maybe it can do something. Folks turning invisible. Death Ward, nobody's close enough to make it bounce. Finally, Banana Slam Jam is going to be close enough. They do not manage to get anyone, and getting out on a tiny slither of life. The Night Stalker is A-okay, and now Witch Doctor having to use that Glimmer Cape. I don't know if he'll get far enough away. He's going to walk back to his base. I feel like with a Luna you can still defend against Mega Creeps, but only if they let you. Slayer working on those tier 4s anyway.
Yeah, as he should. There is no heroes available except for the Witch Doctor to combat this. Although they're not going to call it, there is that slim possibility that Luna can hold against these megas that you were alluding to earlier. It is only slim that's going to happen. And for now, USA are going to back off. They've pretty much won this game, but there's still that like 1%, maybe even less chance that Luna's able to pull this one through. But we saw in that last engagement, 1v1, the Slark, even without MKB, is still able to edge himself over Luna with Abyssal Blade, with second Abyssal Blade, and just putting out more damage in general. They're going to keep on going for these tier 4s. Tier 4 on the left is going to fall chains onto Razevan, and Luna's about to respawn. This is the last Hail Mary from Romania.
But they popped the nighttime, so it's gonna get harder and harder to fight this. The crit almost killing off Witch Doctor, trying to get away. They of course do have vision. Luna now turned into a little piggy. She's trying to get some auto attack damage off, as is Nature's Prophet, trying to attack as much as he can, but their Ancient is falling at the same time. There's the Winter's Curse. Luna's gonna take a lot of damage here, not gonna be able to Satanic to get back up. She finally does pop it, but still their Ancient is falling. Death Ward does a lot of good damage, but now the Death Ward has been stopped, and that is her GG. Tying up the set 1-1.
Well played, and with that, USA have found themselves in a situation where anybody could be the second slot. It's between them and Greece, really, to take it out, and it depends on how that series goes. A very entertaining last game coming out from USA and Romania. Thanks for watching it here on ProDota EN. I've been Grant SV. She's been Llama Down Under. We might have another series coming up. I might be with Llama, might be with Kefka, but we'll be seeing Portugal versus the revived Yugoslavia. I have no idea why Yugoslavia is in the Nations Cup, but who knows?
They love
we'll
Dota
just
that
roll
much.
with it. Absolutely. And shout out to the sponsors, esportgaming.com, G2A, Hitbox, Ghost of Gamers, and Dota 2 Lounge.